was started yesterday. It goes till October 15th, and it celebrates the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central, and South America. So I first want to acknowledge two San Francisco State organizations run by students. For number one is La Raza Student Organization.
And then the second one is Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlán, abbreviated MECA.
Thank you. There's a press piece that describes Destani as a Latina from Berkeley with an angelic set of pipes and a versatile stylistic range, which effortlessly encompasses soul, jazz, reggae, and Latin flavors. So first, if you wouldn't mind just sharing us, what is your cultural heritage?
Yeah, well, oh, I hear a little echo. Can you hear me okay? All right. Yeah, I was raised in the Bay Area in Berkeley, and my mom's family's from Mexico, from Guadalajara, Querétaro, El DF area. And then my dad grew up in Florida with, English roots and German roots and gringo, basically. Yeah, he would laugh at that. But yeah, so I have a diverse background. But yeah, definitely I don't know where you read that. That's cool. The Latina from Berkeley.
Yeah. I did my research.
Yeah.
So being from Berkeley and with that heritage, what sort of music did you grow up with in your household?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I grew up listening to, of course, like I love soul, old school soul. So Aretha Franklin and Big Mama Thornton, and from blues to jazz with Ella and Billie Holiday and Janis Joplin, getting even into the classic rock kind of vibes. And then we had records. My grandparents gave my mom a bunch of records. So we had Los Panchos and, other more ranchera, mariachi kind of vibes too. But then I grew up in the Bay where we were listening to Tribe Called Quest, and at the time, Lauryn Hill and Alicia Keys and also like all the reggae from Bob Marley, Stevie Wonder. Bob Marley is one of my favorite lyricists, actually. So yeah, I grew up listening to all kinds of music from around the world.
Eclectic.
Yes.
And isn't your great uncle in music?
Yeah, so my grandmother, all of my grandmother's siblings sang, and they would sing together and harmonize these ranchera songs and mariachi songs together. And one of my uncles was a professional singer. So yeah, so they also pursue this, which I found out years later, but I always knew my grandmother loved to sing.
Nice. How old were you when you realized you could sing?
Well, my mom says it was 2 years old. I was always saying, I told her that I wanted to be a singer at 2 years old. I didn't know I could talk then, but I guess, yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, so I knew from a very early age, and I could feel this passion growing inside of me. I would sit down at the piano and just kind of play with chords, and melodies just felt good, and it felt good to sing for other people. So that's kind of where it started.
Nice. Now I'm happy to announce you are a San Francisco State University grad. So everybody out there, she's been there before you, Gators.
I did that.
So tell us what you majored in.
I was a music major with vocal. I had a scholarship for voice, so it was with vocal performance, emphasis with world and jazz studies. So it was great to just get to experience, all these different modes, and listening to music from around the world, more Middle Eastern music, and understanding it from a scholarly kind of way, understanding music intellectually, which, my blues mentor was like, I don't know if you should go over there and learn all that, and they're gonna take all your soul away. But no, I don't think that happened. In fact, what it did for me was it helped me to be able to communicate with other musicians what it is I wanted. I could then put together my own show and say, here's the music for that. And so that was that. I feel like it was, I had some great teachers. I don't make me name them because I'm not gonna remember them, but yeah, I had a good time.
Well, we got to shout out John Calloway because he definitely remembers you and he's a faculty there.
Yes, John Calloway. I think at the time he was studying.
That's
and,
what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we would cross paths on the campus, but I've been fortunate enough to experience his amazing arrangements working with John Santos and having and his performance skills, and he's great.
So there's students on here that are like Paloma that are seniors who are going to be going into their life shortly. So let's go back to when you were finishing up your degree. Sort of what was your plan? Was there like, I'm going to be the biggest star in the music business, or like, I hope I can play the little club down in Berkeley? Like, how big were your dreams when you left San Francisco State for your music business career?
Well, I was balancing my musical life while I was in school. So at the time, I was with a band called Omaya, which was like an Afro-Latin hip-hop band. And we were playing all over the city and all over Berkeley, and then we started to tour. And I was also with an a cappella band at the time, So. So we were mimicking instruments. It was an offshoot of Bobby McFerrin's Voicestra. So I was kind of already in the process, in the motion of making it happen. And I had never really wanted to kind of have this life where I couldn't go to the grocery store or something. That wasn't really my goal. For me, it was, I just wanted to share my voice with the world. So, and I realized also that I'm able to express myself and get out so much emotion through songwriting that I also realized I wanted to make sure that was happening at the same time. So a lot of things that happened to create my path were because I was putting in the time and the effort and the creativity into my passion, that then the doors would kind of open in certain places for me.
I'm glad you mentioned So. And I think that because you're so musically versatile, how do you, with So is an a cappella group, and those of you that have never heard of them, it's SOVOSO. And with them, do you think that really helped with your improvisation and stretching your voice in ways that you had not before?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's very technical. In order to be able to sing with an a cappella band, you're becoming a piece, of the puzzle. So you have to hold it down. There's no drummer who can keep the beat for you. There's, and all the tuning is up to whoever's in the group. So for sure it was, and they had, most of the people in the group at that time had been touring with Bobby McFerrin, who is just like, amazing. And so they had this kind of schooling, which I was able to learn from them, Joey Blake and David Worm. And I guess what I learned also was that certain silly sounds that I was doing was actually musical, like pretending I was a horn, this kind of vibe, where all of a sudden it's like, no, that's cool, Destiny, practice that. Yeah, practice that. Keep doing that. That's good. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah,
so
that
that
once more, please, because that's unbelievable. Please. What? Can we turntables?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of like all these different sounds. But yeah, so I realized, oh, okay, this is cool. Like I should practice this thing that I mess around with. And then improvisation, that's so much of what that group is about, which is just creating on the spot. Okay, we're, playing, we were playing somewhere and they asked for, people to throw out a random word, random color, and we're just like freestyling on the spot. So opening up your mind to creating lyrics on the spot is a whole nother thing. And actually you're using a different part of your brain when you're creating poetry or freestyling like that, as opposed to, and with melody, as opposed to just sitting down and writing a poem. So you have to exercise that part of your brain too.
Definitely. Back in college, had you already started songwriting?
Yeah, I think I wrote my first song at 9 years old. It was me just sitting at the piano, you know, talking about heartbreak. And I think my mom was like, how do you even know what heartbreak is, you know? Like, but it just was so, it just felt passionate. It was coming out. So yeah, I was writing then, and then I was writing, and then I also wrote for different bands that I worked with right out of college. That's really when I started. I was one of the things I really attribute to a lot of my confidence growing up was going to these different music camps, you know, like Living Jazz in the Bay Area is a big one, jazz camp. And having all these supportive, incredible faculty members who are already playing out there, you know, instructing me and saying, yes, you should keep doing that. Josh Jones is another one. So many great players. So that really was great for me to be experiencing that in high school. And then I actually went to Long Beach State first and then moved to Mexico. And then I went to San Francisco State. And yeah, so that's the songs kept coming.
Yeah, do you have any tips for those people that are listening that are budding songwriters of just sort of how to start to really grow that craft?
For me, a lot of my songs are because it's something that I need to say, that it's something I need to get out. You know, maybe I'm super upset. That's probably the best time for me to go and sit and write, because I can explain a simple moment of emotion. So, and a lot of my songs, you know, like the Revelation, the song you were playing at the beginning of this, it's, you know, about having this this freedom of, you know, this peace inside. And that song is kind of like a reminder for me. I mean, life has its ebbs and flows, so it's good for me to come back to that song, you know, to not be so hard on yourself about it, you know, just let it flow, let it flow. Start with, there's so many different ways you can actually start. Maybe if you play a guitar, just start with the chords. Maybe if you're just hearing a melody, just do nonsense words with the melody and then freestyle some lyrics over that, you know. So yeah, just let it be about what you're about.
Right. I just want to say again that to everybody that's here, thank you for being here. You're hearing Destani Wolf, and we are going to answer questions, but not until 6:45. So don't worry, we will get to you with your questions. I also want to shout out to Oakland School for the Arts. They are going to be watching this recording in their vocal class on Thursday. So hello, Oakland School for the Arts. Okay, so when did you start looking either to be your own label or seek out more business support with either a manager or an agent?
For me, I ended up deciding to start a label, I believe, when I had my first solo debut release. So when I did that, I knew that I would be selling merchandise at the time. I wanted to just have my whole business legitimate. And also I'm an independent artist. So when I look back, yeah, it would be great to have had help. I've done everything. I mean, of course, I've had a lot of help and encouragement along the way, but for the most part, I've learned everything from Photoshop to Final Cut Pro to Pro Tools. I know how to edit vocals that I lay down. I know how to create a flyer. I know how to, you know, put together a 15-second Instagram video for my songs. All of these things, you know, so that I can continue to put myself out there in the way that I wanted to, you know, in a professional light. And so that's just kind of like under this umbrella of Brave Wolf Productions. And at the same time, I also realized, like, you know, that, yeah, help is great. And I'm somebody who has vision. And for those of you who have vision, it's amazing to really put out what you see, and also to let yourself just release, you know, that moment in time, you know, to not hold on to things so tight. I mean, I'm still learning this, but to just be able to let that thing live in that moment and to keep progressing. And at the same time, it's good to allow help. So I actually created a a board for my label so that I could start getting feedback in a different way and other resources and networking, because that's really important in this business too.
Yes. Now, along the way, you moved to Los Angeles. Was that for music or for another reason?
My husband is actually from LA, so at the time we thought it would be a good idea to try it out. And I was in bands here, so it was a lot of Southwest going back and forth. But it was good to see this other side of the music industry down there, and I think it also really pushed me to finish my first album. So yeah, it became a lot of amazing things for me once I was
Why
there.
did it push you to finish your album?
There's a lot of movement down there. It's a different pace, you know? So for me, I love the Bay Area. I love this phase. I love so many things about it. And I'm home now. I live in Berkeley again. But at the same time, there's something, I mean, I love New York too, because that'll just get you, you know, you vibrating in that city. But LA has a different kind of, there's so much happening, you know, there's so much industry happening.
Yeah.
You go out one night and the people that are around you are, oh yeah, I'm an entertainment lawyer for blah, blah, blah. I'm this, that, which also is probably the cliche thing that Bay Area people get annoyed about, you know, with LA, this kind of non-authentic side to it. People being all about, they just care about, you know, what industry you're in. Of course, there's that side to LA for sure. But I found so much beauty and independent artists and community, and you really have to look in a different way and you find your people. So it was, yeah, that pace I think is what got it happening.
Yeah, and I think it was special that you recorded a song in Spanish on your debut album.
Yes.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So with being on over 40 albums, when I read something like that, what that says to me is this vocalist knows how to network. Right? I mean, because it's not talent alone that gets you in the door. It's that you must have, like, talk to somebody, you talk to somebody, you talk to somebody, you talk to somebody all over the lands and all over the genres who said, call Destani Wolf, she'll lay it down. I mean, do you think that's
cool.
true?
I mean, you know what? I love people. I'm a connector. I think I get that from my parents for sure. I love to be around other creative people. I'm a collaborator. I love to get into a room with people and just create something and then let it go, you know? So, yeah, I think that's one of the keys to this. It's interesting to hear that number now that I look back. And sometimes, you know, that could be some background vocals here. It could be a featured song there, or perhaps it's my own music. But it is cool to think about that. And I think the key is just developing friendships and relationships, you know, being who you are, not trying to network. I think it's more about just wanting to connect with people. And then I've been very blessed with people, you know, saying, hey, you need to call Destani Wolf and put her on this. Or so I've been lucky in that way that people, you know, recognize what I was doing and would reach out to me. And then I would also, you know, in some cases you have to make it happen. I mean, in LA, you have to make things happen now. TV and film, it's like, okay, so we have this song. I mean, one of them was, a friend of mine, Dylan Berry called me while I was I think we were in Hawaii and on a vacation, which was lucky and beautiful. And he said, listen, I have this song. Can you record it like in the next day? And I was like, I think I can. Now let me see what I can do. And my family was super flexible. I found a random studio through another friend in Hawaii, got to the studio, laid it down. And then that song was on So You Think You Can Dance, you know? So, and that's what also got me into being a member of SAG and AFTRA. So you never know, you know, what it's going to come out to. And it could also come out to you put a song out there and your best friends don't even get a chance to hear it. You know, music is so oversaturated these days. So there's got to be different reasons for why you're putting it all out there.
Exactly. And I love that story because it's the saying yes. You just said yes. Most people would have been like, I'm on vacation. That just seems too hard. I just can't even like get my mind around that. So saying yes does often open up opportunities. Another thing that I think is really good for especially students to hear is that there's the imposter syndrome, where you go somewhere, maybe you go to an interview, you go to a studio, you go anywhere, and you feel like, ooh, I'm not really good enough, or I don't really belong here, and I'm gonna just try to fake it. And then often the lesson in that is that like, oh my gosh, I do belong here, and I am great at this. Did you, having so many genres that you have dipped into, ever feel like, I wonder why they called me. This is a little out of my element. But then it became something you did.
Fake it till you make it. Is that what they say? Fake it till you make it.
That's what they say.
Yeah. You know, I would say for me, there's certain songs like that are maybe like Orisha songs where, you know, I just always want to respect also the culture of where these songs might come from. So if I'm singing a coro, that I understand its roots. And then to me, it's also, you go out and you try it and it's exciting to get it. Like, I like that kind of challenge. I mean, really, one of the biggest challenges was starting Sovo So and this a cappella group. And it was just so new to me at the time. I had to study it. I studied it. I mean, there's been other times where, you know, I'm featured for singing a song in Portuguese. And I went and I just slowed the track way down, you know, and I'm listening like, I mean, it's like that, but I literally, you know, I figured it out and then I did it, you know, so yeah, it's also that sense of accomplishment once you do, for sure.
Absolutely. And it's something on your belt that, you've done. How did you become the voice of the leapfrog toy where you play a 10-year-old Latino boy?
That's insider information, guys. So just so you know. How did I become this voice? Wait, how did I actually, you know, I think it was through a friend, somebody I met, and then they recommended I try out for this voice for Leapfrog. And then I got it. So it was pretty funny too. It was like a 2nd grade toy. What did I say? I forget. I was like, it was in English, but it was like, you know, I think we made it. You know, it's just kind of like, it's just my voice, because the 10-year-old kind of sounds like my voice anyway. So I don't know.
But I love that because again, it just shows like, just say yes to things, stretch, do it, you know. It's wonderful.
Well, yeah, and voiceovers are super fun too. I love doing voiceovers, yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us about how you found out about the audition for Cirque du Soleil.
Okay, Cirque du Soleil, yeah. Well, so I was in another a cappella band called Slammin'. And we hadn't been playing much, and I feel like it might have even been the last show that we did. We happened to, was I in LA? Maybe not, but I ended up coming to, yes, I was. I came up to the Bay and I performed with them at Jeffrey's Inner Circle. Have you ever heard of that before, Kerry? Yeah.
No.
That's an old school spot. Yeah, so over in Oakland, this spot, just a, you know, old school spot, a little small spot, and performed. And that night, one of the casting agents from Cirque du Soleil happened to be there. So it's kind of one of those stories that, you know, you never think is necessarily going to happen to you, but I guess it did. So that was 2015, and they asked me to audition. I think it was for Curios, and I went to Vegas and did about an 1.5-hour audition. Again, this was the kind of thing where Cirque du Soleil doesn't have you. There really were no English words. In fact, I think our show Bazaar was the first show to have English lyrics. But this was a lot of like, je la suis là, made up kind of music. So I had to go in and learn these pieces with this. But then I had a great audition and it just didn't work out. And actually it was better for me because I have 2 kids and my little one was really small. And then I got an email in 2018 saying, we have this new show and can you send us a couple YouTube links? And I sent that and then they said, we'd like you to be the lead singer for this particular show. So that's.
Were you just blown away? Like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a big decision. And again, like I said, I have 2 kids, I'm a mom, and that, to think about touring, that was like a family decision. So I feel really lucky to have the support from my family. There's no way we could have done it without them. But that part of it was there, like just kind of trying to make that choice. But then when you look back on it, could you hear yourself like saying, oh yeah, I said no to that, So
right.
Again, that's one of those things where it's like, how do I want to look back on this? What is my story? What is going to be my story in this lifetime? And, you can always try things and walk through the door and see what happens. That's always a good option. So yeah, I said yes, and I went and I was a part of the creation of our show, Bazaar.
Amazing. And I think it's really nice to share that with especially women that are on here, that a lot of times those people that are in the arts feel like you can have family or you can have this career, but you really can't have them both. And we're told, that doesn't mean there's not extreme sacrifices. I mean, you were living on the other side of the world away from your children for a long time. And I don't mean to say that just women have that, men have that as well, where you have to pick family or, or working. So I'm glad that you shared that you had children, and that was a big thing, because wasn't originally the first stop very far away?
India.
India, right, okay.
On the other side of the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about this particular show is that we would do smaller stints, which really, I mean, it was still long, but 3 to 5 weeks in one place. And then I would come home, and sometimes I'd come home for even 7 weeks. So it was a really nice balance. And I was lucky my husband also travels for work. So it was great to be able to use some of the miles we were collecting to take my family to these incredible places in the world. My kids went from Lebanon to Saudi Arabia. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Was there anything that you brought back to this world, like from the international travel, that affected how you think you will create music? Like, are there things about just being this world traveler now that will affect, you think, your next album and songwriting?
Well, it's interesting. That's okay. When you first said that, I thought about actually being a performer and then also being, a teacher, and the way that the world just feels so much smaller than it actually is. There's people in Turkey who want to hear what kind of things you're creating over here. There's ways to find these kind of, that was one of my biggest things when I went to all these places. I mean, we all know people who know somebody. So I just don't have that. I don't have a fear of reaching out to people I don't know. I guess that's also another big thing is I like to connect with people. So if you're a friend of a friend, then you're a friend, and I would do that in most locations that I was going to. And in that way, I was able to connect and build with new people. And so it's really cool. I mean, even right now, the fact that I have a track and I can send it to a friend in LA and say, hey, can you lay something down on this? Or to New York. That's, building your community and taking care of your people too, I think is really important.
That's so true. That's awesome. Well, Destiny's latest single, Water Tumbling, is an extension of her belief in the power of music to encourage empathy for others' human experience. The song's folk soul vibe and plaintive lyrics are punctuated by Destani's powerful yet vulnerable vocals. Lyrics speak to our capacity for resilience and hope. It's a song of faith in the face of heartbreak, about finding one's inner strength to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges and to emphasize the plight of others. If it's okay with you, we'd like to show them the video.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Paloma.
All right, I'm gonna take it away and I'm gonna go ahead and share White Water Tumbling with y'all.
Darkness of my pain, I think you're calling me, your voice so faint. Wash my stories of who's to blame, purify my path, I'm not the same. Time to stand tall, let my past meet the sea. Current so strong, it won't get the best of me. Had to leave it all, I just wanna be free. In the wide water tumbling, should I go out to sea? Carefree played with the wind. I've lived that peace before, will I again, surviving it all. Let my past meet the sea. Journey so long, it won't get the best of me. Trying to rise from this fall, I just wanna be free. In the wide water tumbling, should I go out to sea? In the wide water tumbling, should I go should I go?
So
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank
So beautiful. How
We had
is
some-
about that?
Oh man, it's emotional just every time I see it for me personally. That song, Water Tumbling, I started writing the music for that, and then I ended up seeing footage of Syrian refugees at the time, and they were coming off boats, and you know, passing a child who was crying, and it just hurt my heart to see that. And at the time, you know, people are arguing about, you know, taking care of people like this. And for me, in that moment, it just felt like if you were on the shore yourself, you know, what would your natural reaction be? It would be to help somebody in distress. I mean, I just believe that's human nature. And so anyways, the lyrics ended up coming to me for that at that moment. And then I actually went to New York and recorded this with some friends out there. And then at the time, a friend of mine, Marjan Terani, was like, oh my gosh, you need to put a video together this. And I said, I was thinking about maybe an animated video. So we ended up, I just felt like this was a great way to just communicate the empathy of this kind of moment.
Absolutely. And an animator did just an incredible job with the lyrical content and making it. It's beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So before we go into everyone's questions, so what's next during this pandemic, or what are your creative side? What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, there's a lot of emotions, right, during this time for everyone. So I think there's a mixture of me wanting to be of service with my voice and share my heart with everyone who's going through it. I know it's not an easy time, and everybody, you know, needs to be easier on themselves during this time too. It's like, it's so crazy. But I've already released a song called Blinds, which features Scarab and is with Hypnotic. And I love the lyrics of that song. You could check it out on anything, Spotify. And then I have a song coming out September 28th, which is called Dandelion Dream Girl, which I'm really excited about. And I'll also be doing a live stream probably right before that to support this animated video, which I connected with UNHCR, which is a nonprofit. So we are raising money and have a goal of $5,000. So you can find that on my Instagram links or whatever. But yeah, so doing that, and then I have some other songs. I'm just trying to let it go, you know, let the songs go, because of course I have songs that are stuck on my computer too, and if you do as well, just let them go. It's okay.
Well, we are here for it, so we just know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So I'm going to pass the mic to Paloma, who's going to read a couple of questions that people have for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so if y'all have any questions that you want to ask, now is the time. You can go ahead and drop them in the chat, and then I'll go ahead and read them out loud to Destani. So we got a funny question from Madison Reed.
Okay.
I saw that they were talking about breakfast and whatnot on here, and Madison is asking if you like egg salad.
Okay, that's a real question. Were you also the one doing smiley faces on the video? Do I like egg salad? How can I turn this into a musical answer? I do actually, yes. There
All right,
you go.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you
for asking.
Our next question is by Jacqueline, and Jacqueline is asking, what is your writing process like and your collaboration with others like?
You know, I love to, hi Jacqueline, it's good to see you out there. What do I do? Oh, thank you, it's good to see you. You know, first of all, I like to just call people I respect, you know, I like to reach out to people who I love what they're doing and say, hey, I mean, now it's a little tricky, but I'd love to get together with you and just write. You know, one thing that happens a lot in LA is these writing sessions, and a lot of times it can be kind of mechanical, like it's for a purpose to get to another artist. But I like to just see whatever happens. And actually, that's what happened with Dandelion Dream Girl. Is I hit up Marcel Camargo, a guitar player out in LA, and we just got together and just kind of started playing. So at that time, he just kind of put together, you know, a groove. And then I said, yeah, I'm feeling that. And then he hit a chord and I said, oh, can we go back to that chord? And just kind of, we're working on the arrangement in the moment. And then from there, it's okay. So we have this kind of structure thing. I'll start putting melodies over it, you know. Maybe I can, oh, there's nothing left in the fridge, so maybe I'll make an egg salad, you know, something like that. And I'll just start putting like some melodies over it, and then, or it's just like, and then I'll go home with it, you know, and then build from there. So that's one way, one tiny way, but there's, of course, so many ways, but yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. And Jacqueline does have a follow-up question. It is, do you have any private lessons or coaching?
Yes, you know, I was kind of taking a break at the beginning of this shelter in place to just kind of reflect on the world and everything that's going on. And I love giving lessons. So I've started up giving lessons. I'm actually also doing a master class in December with Living Jazz. So that will be 4 different classes. And yes, but I would love that. Yeah, definitely find me, and you can always message me on Instagram. My Instagram is @DestinoLobo, and you can message me there, or Facebook or whatever. Find me there, or my website, DestiniWolf.com. Yeah, I'd love that.
Thank you. Alrighty, so the next question is from Alyssa, and Alyssa's asking, what are some creative inspirations you found during quarantine?
Creative inspirations. Well, I played ukulele during Cirque du Soleil, so I actually played that at the show. And I just decided, you know, I just wanted to get better. So I've been playing a lot more, practicing, setting up my studio, getting in there, laying down ideas. And so that's been one of the ways that I've been creative, and also finding songs just that I love. I feel like I don't always have songs ready to sing that I love, you know, so I've started making lists and learning them on ukulele so that I can just share, because that's what I want to do. I want to just sing.
And that easily goes into our next question, which is by Amy, who is asking, do you play any instruments? I play the tuba if you need a tuba player.
Oh, really? Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, I do. I play ukulele, I play guitar, a little bit of guitar and piano. And those are great ways to write. But, you know, you don't have to be, you know, this virtuoso in order to write songs. You know, even if you just have a good ear and can just find a chord that feels good, and then find another chord that feels good going into that, you know, that maybe at the time I didn't even know what that chord was, but I could write down the notes, you know, and then come back to it and play to it. So piano is a great way to write.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. Now, Sarah is asking, what steps would you recommend to beginner singers who are just starting out?
Beginner singers, I think it's good to record yourself singing so you can really listen back to what you sound like, get used to your voice. And then also, and I recommend this for everyone, to love the feeling of singing, because that's what is going to encourage you in the moments where you might be scared to perform for other people. When you love that feeling of your voice, you know, you're opening up a part of yourself, a part of your heart. And so if you can be love that place for yourself. Other people will feel your authenticity. That's really the key, I think, is to singing and being your authentic self in that way. And of course, technique definitely helps so that you can learn how to find the vocal palette, your own vocal palette, you know, that you can, if you hear it, you can sing it. That's a powerful tool.
Perfect. Sarah says thank you.
Yeah.
And John is asking, do you post singing videos on TikTok, if you even use TikTok? I know it's a very famous app right now.
Yes. You know, I haven't really gotten into TikTok. And I don't post a lot. I mean, I just of me singing regular. I put it on more my Instagram. I love finding spaces in the world that have great acoustics. And so I'll just go and just like sing and feel my voice. So I have a lot of videos of that. And then also my own music videos, which you can find on YouTube. I mean, honestly, social media, I think it's a good tool to be able to promote what it is that I'm doing. It can be so distracting and like an emotional roller coaster. So I'm not trying to be on everything. Yeah.
Yeah, social media trying to be on everything all at once can definitely be overwhelming, and it's so much to like keep up with too.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, thank you for answering that.
Mm-hmm.
We have another question from Alyssa, and Alyssa's asking, what's one memorable moment of your experience with Cirque that stands out in your mind?
Oh man, it was a really powerful journey. I hope that it comes back. I think it will. But you know, the first thing that came to my mind was there was a group where they worked with underserved children in Mumbai, and they filled 1,500 seats with children. Okay, normally it's like, you know, mix of adults and kids. And these kids had never seen anything like that before. And a lot of times they'll whistle, you know, in India, they'll like whistle and stuff. So these kids, I felt like a rock star. Like they just went crazy and they just made me super emotional. You know, I was really lucky because this show, the music's so powerful and I love the songs. So I was singing 8 to 10 shows a week. And you have to love what you're doing in order to really go into the heart of a performance. Because I wasn't just there to share, I wanted to feel it. You know, I wanted to feel it myself. But that moment was for sure, yeah, very powerful.
Perfect, thank you. And John is asking, do you do anything else that isn't singing? Just wondering because of the paintings behind you.
Oh, that's some street art over there from Long Beach. And it's a photo of Tahoe, one of my other favorite spots. But I do lots of things. Oh my gosh, I got to keep myself entertained over here. Let's see, I love to be outside. I love to be in nature. I love to hike. I love to learn new things. I like to read. I love to cook. We're gardening right now. I like to, you know, sculpt a succulent if I can, just kind of do that kind of thing. And I love to stay in touch with people. I love to connect with people. Those are some of the things I like to do.
Perfect, thank you. And this question isn't written on here, but it's a question from me. I am curious to know what genre it is that you like to work with the most, if there's one. I know that you're a vocalist, so the singing I'm sure fits well with multiple genres, but is there one that you like to work with the most?
I mean, I love soul music, soul and reggae, and soul and blues, but it feels so good to sing. But then also reggae also feels super good. It's really fun to perform reggae at festivals because, oh, I miss festivals. Yeah. But yeah, reggae is amazing. And then I love singing. It's really hard for me to choose Paloma, but salsa is also super fun because, you know, doing, like, I would play with these Latin jazz bands where, you know, I love to dance. That's another thing, John. I love to dance. So it's fun to dance, you know, when you're doing salsa shows too.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I know it's usually hard when it comes to picking a genre when like listening to it. So I could already imagine when it comes to like singing to one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But
And
I love like emotional songs, you know, like I love to sing an Adele song, for instance, or something with really big, long tones that, you know, is emotional. I love that.
Definitely something that makes you feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have one more question, and it is, how do you care for your voice when you're doing 9 to 10 shows per week?
Woo! Yeah. Well, hydration is number one. You got to hydrate all day long. I had a little steam, you know, a little steamer right next to me when I was doing my makeup and stuff. And then you know, alcohol would also dehydrate me. So maybe I just like have a glass of wine at the end of the week. But I really didn't, I had to keep, you know, keep my voice up. I was already singing so much during the shows because I was on most of the acts that I really needed to, that I didn't need a big, long warm up kind of thing. I would do a quick warm up. But yeah, and then I was in places like India and New Delhi where I had to wear a mask outside. I mean, it was air like yesterday or like the last week. So yeah, there's a lot of tricks to it, but it's totally possible, and it's a muscle, and it can get stronger, and it's super exciting when you can do that. I mean, out of over 250 shows, I think I know I only missed one show. So that felt really good, like a great accomplishment.
Yeah, no, only missing one show out of 250
Yeah.
definitely an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you.
Well, that does conclude all of our questions. So thank you for sharing your time with us.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So
it.
Destiny, we just thank you so much for being here. It's such an inspiration and so great to just learn about your career. And we appreciate you coming back to San Francisco State University.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. San Francisco
To the
State.
Gators. And
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you, Kerry, so much for having me, Paloma, and everyone who's here. Really, it was really nice to talk to you guys.
thank you. And everybody check us out again. Workshop Wednesdays coming up in 2 weeks with another San Francisco State grad that went into the music business. Thank you to Associated Students. Thank you to San Francisco State. And thank you, Paloma, as always. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Much love. Peace. Thank you.